Welcome to my brand new podcast, A New School HR. This is a HR podcast designed to be a little bit different from what's out there and basically just to have some fun. I'll be covering different topics that I think may be of use. As the show grows, be more than happy to take topical issues, but for the time being, welcome to episode 00, the application process. So welcome to 00, the application process. This episode, if you like, has been designed to give you an overview of who I am and why I think this podcast might be of interest for you. This won't be a long one, this won't be topical, this will literally be about me. The reason I've decided to do this separately is because actually maybe you don't really want to know a little bit about me, so this gives you an option. So be prepared. The next sort of 5 to 10 minutes, if it makes it that far, is literally a little bit about me and why I'm doing this. Of course, if you want to skip all that and you already like the sound of my voice, feel free to head on to episode 1, which has also been released at the same time. Episode 1, you'll notice, is also labelled as part of a series, which is called The Induction. So the first series will be looking at the induction process for a HR individual, just some little hints and tips as I myself has found myself in the induction process. So in terms of how I like to function as a HR practitioner, as it is, as they call us, is broken down into 4 real stages. So the first one is honesty. I think it's imperative that honesty is there, and actually that is 2 ways. I think we need to allow people the opportunity to be honest with us as well, and actually ensure that at all times when we can, we're giving them that feedback, we're giving them that discussion point, whatever it is, it's honest. The second point is transparency. Big believer of that. Don't believe in secrets, don't believe in hiding things. And I think actually, when we work in a transparent environment, it actually breeds maturity, Why are we worried about someone knowing something? There's no difference. If we want them to achieve something, we want them to strive for something, they need to know what it is, right? Likewise, if they're not doing it and we need to give them the feedback, then they need to know what it is they're not doing. So transparency is definitely a key one for me. The third thing is the environment. I think the environment has to be correct, and that doesn't just mean the building, the paint on the wall. The environment which says that it's an open team, it's a environment where people can challenge, people can speak up, people can always highlight. And you might say that comes across honesty. No, I think honesty is what we're thinking, but I think the safe environment is when somebody has a bad day, somebody has something that they're not quite sure about, or maybe even an altercation. They need to be able to go to someone and say, you know what, you're a fucking prick. And I think sometimes I'm quite prepared to have that pointed my way. So the safe environment is definitely a key one for me. The fourth one is trust, which kinds of come on the back of the safe environment. People have to trust what you're doing, and you have to trust what they're doing. And actually, in a team where you want to excel, the trust has to be across there. I mean, this is all textbook stuff, isn't it? And I think, I'm just pointing out the obvious, but these are the 4 key things that I believe are principal and has enabled me to achieve or succeed in whatever it is that I've been doing. So I guess when you fill out an application form, you always give a bit of history about your education and your working career. So if we start with education, that's pretty simple. Didn't do too well in my GCSEs, did college and got a GNVQ in media, which I guess 16 years on has actually worked out as I'm now doing a podcast. I then did a BTEC ND in multimedia, which again, 16 years later, maybe has helped when you see the logo, which I designed myself for this show. Leaving from that, I actually did CEL to 5 teaching. For any of you that know out there, that's ESOL. I did that for a year back in 2010, and more recently I've done my CIPD level 3 and level 5 in 2016 and 2018 respectively. So you'll also see that I've actually done that quite late in my career. So that's the education piece for me. Now in terms of the actual on-the-job experience, I think it's best for me to break it up into 2 parts. So the first part is what I'm going to call the shop floor roles. Reason being, I worked in retail for 10 years. Within that 10 years, it would actually split 5 years in the shop floor, 5 years in HR. Probably a bit more of each as I did crossovers, but if we just want to level it out and be easy about it, that's what I did. So in terms of the shop floor, I did a vast majority of roles, starting from literally a trolley boy in a car park, which was an underground car park, pretty good weather conditions in winter, and worked my way up to manager level with the HR gaps in between. From a HR point of view, I've started as a schedule entry person, which is a full-time role, allegedly, and worked my way towards L&D as a store trainer, and then more recently, a HR advisor and a HR business partner. I'm not going to break it down into how many years. I think the podcast will probably do that when you start going through the sessions and listening to what I have to say. But the bit I will say is that my career has been around 15 years now, as I sit at 34. So quite a vast amount of knowledge and experience there. I think more specifically for the importance of this podcast, more real and raw experiences, first-hand, second-hand, you name it. And if we look at the education piece, allegedly I've been trained by the textbook, although probably too late in the career. So the next bit I want to come to is the name, New School HR. Probably may have seen a hashtag last used in 2014. I actually referred to myself as the New School HR on my LinkedIn when I was actually looking for a role. I noticed that it did actually attract quite a bit of attention. So I quite like the name, quite like the feel of it. I think the other piece was that as we get a bit comfortable with the microphone, as I am now on take number 27 is saying, you'll see my character will start to come out, and actually I am definitely not what the HR textbook says it should be. And I'm quite proud of that. And I think the people that work with me, whether that's in the new role or roles that I've been in with, will probably agree with that too, I'd like to think. So New School HR was basically designed to show people that you didn't have to be the polished article. You didn't have to have had the CIPD level 7. You didn't have to do a lot of things to actually get a HR career. What I'm hoping is that people will listen to this who maybe are in the early stages and through the sessions that I sort of go through within the podcast, think to themselves that, you know what, actually maybe there is an opportunity. You know what, maybe the way that was explained, I understand that a bit better than the 1973 theory of whoever that's been discussed. So this is to show people that there is a different style of HR out there, and actually it can be successful. You know, the lowest amount of time I've spent in the company, bar the probation one I've just joined recently, is 5 years. So I'd like to think that this approach has worked, is sustainable. So that's something that kind of influences me. I think one thing that really stuck with me that kind of, if I want to be honest about it, really fucking pissed me off was when I attended the CIPD session as part of the CIPD course. And whoops, I accidentally banged the table there because that's how much it pisses me off. But I was met by one of these CIPD host counselor people. I don't even fucking know what they're called. But anyway, this woman stood there in front of an auditorium and she was asking us, you know, how's your career? How did you get your career? What are you doing? And all this kind of stuff. So, you know, I sat there and I said I was a HR business partner. And the question was, okay, but you're doing level 3. I said, yeah. No, sorry, I just finished level 3. I was sitting in level 5. She said, oh, you just finished level 3. I said, yeah, that's correct. I'm glad you remember me. And she said, oh, and so how did you get that gig? And I said, well, 12 years of hard work. And I think she just looked at me and saw that my haircut maybe had a side fade and, you know, my voice is the way that it is. And, you know, I was quite relaxed, quite laid back. I think I was probably even wearing a hoodie at the time. And she said to me, I was lucky to be there. And I just thought, wow, you know, and my class kind of looked at me because those in the class knew that I probably participated a lot more than those around me. Not because I particularly wanted to, I just wanted the classes to end a bit quicker, you know, sometimes just move things along at 8 o'clock at night. But anyway, you know, that's what was said to me. So that's always stuck with me, rightly or wrongly. And I think that really was the driving force for me to want to do something. I didn't know that it would become a podcast. I didn't know how that would be. I just felt that, you know, my community that I work with was enough. But, you know, having worked with many HR people now, many HR assistants, many HR advisors now, I just feel like we have to start nurturing people. We need to start doing something different, because eventually what's going to happen is we'll have a load of people that are stuck in 1973 with a workforce in 2020. So I guess the other piece to say is that, you know, I've been very fortunate to work with some people in my career who have left an imprint on me. Stuff that I was sort of shown or shouted at or whatever it was from 2006 onwards that has helped steer my career. There's certain conversations I can look back on and think, wow, that's still relevant today. Or there's certain things that I remember thinking, wow, I can't believe someone fucking spoke to me like that. Like, what the fuck? I thought we were meant to be HR. And I think those are the things that have helped me shape the experience for you guys that I hope will come over the coming months and longer. I think, you know, let's use this platform, right? If there's people listening to this who want to raise something or we want to discuss something, let's do that. Let's have a platform for those HR professionals who are, I don't want to say scared, but, almost conscious of, can I do this? Can I challenge that? Is this going to work? Is this going to be different? What's the consequences? I must be like this person over there because you know what? They've got 20 years experience. Fuck that. Absolutely fuck that. That's not what this is about. This is about finding a common place. And I think, listening to me now, people will be thinking, this guy's a HR professional. What? This guy's a HR business partner? He's talking like this? He's thinking this? Yeah, I am. Because what you'll find out through the coming months and beyond, hopefully, is that whilst I do have this approach, whilst I do have this mentality or whatever it is that's coming across right now, the sessions will be very direct, very steered, very forward. Unfortunately you can't see an email from me, but you'll get to know. So I think let's enjoy this for what it is. Let's use this platform to do something different. Let's, find a place, a safety net almost, where we can express ourselves, make stories, make journeys, make professionals, make assistants go to advisors. Let's change the offset. Let's try and do something different because you know what? This is about growing. When you went into HR, what was the reason? I could tell you mine was because it meant not going to uni. That's the honest truth. That's why I did it. It would have been uni or personnel assistant. So, let's build. Let's remember why we did this. Let's remember why we got here. And let's have fun while we do it. So if you've made it to this far, which is 385 seconds into it, that means you got to hear 2 beats. Just to let you know, I did those beats myself, just in case you're looking for a HR DJ. Boom, boom, boom. So I just thought, look, I'll take the opportunity to say what is coming in the next sort of podcast that I'm going to be releasing. What is season 1, series 1? I don't know whether you're Netflix or whatever. We'll probably call this a series. So at the moment, 4 episodes listed. 1 got removed from the original 5. So I've decided to keep it topical. So as I said earlier, it's going to be called the induction process. So just to give you an overview of what those titles are, 01 is going to be called the human in human resources. So cliche, but let's just get it out of the way in the first one. The next one is going to be called Meet the Team, which is around me and the HR team, the sort of things I would do when I get to a new team, because I've been fortunate enough to do that quite a few times. And after that, the last one in that sort of block that I already have is what is already there. And it's about how I observe what's there and look at what, if anything, I have to offer. So that's the offset. We've got to 420 seconds. I think we're going to call this a wrap. If you've listened to this, I appreciate that because, as I said at the offset, absolutely no reason to listen to this at all. But if you have, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you got a bit of a steer who I am, and hopefully you subscribe or at least listen to the next episode. So happy to take any feedback, not based on this one. Let's keep it friendly, not really bothered about it. This, like I said at the beginning of the show, was to find out a bit about me. If you want to know more, feel free to give me a shout. That's in the comments. I need to get over that. This is a whole new working platform, isn't it? So yeah, thanks for listening, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.